We're delighted now to meet and be joined via Zoom by Stuart Sherman. So, Stuart is a tax attorney and adjunct professor. He's a founder and owner of Tax Resolve. And Mr. Sherman, my notes say, and I am told that you're also the former mayor of Birmingham. So, very good to have you with us via Zoom. Thanks for joining the Megacast.
Well, thanks for letting me be here.
Well, it's good to have you here. So let's start with tax issues. Well, it is a complicated time right now. I thought I had my business fairly well organized, and trying to deal with all the forecasting and really an amazing number of programs to help us out. It's a little bit complicated. What are your thoughts?
Well, it definitely is a little more difficult this year. With the changes in deadlines and the difficulty in reaching people, with most people not working out of their homes, it's definitely added some levels of complexity that have not existed in the past.
So we do appreciate all the things, though. I mean, at the very least, the most conspicuous is not having to file our taxes until what, July? Is that correct?
July 15th.
Yeah.
But not only do they extend the due date for the tax returns, they also extended the due date for the payments. So if you would have made a payment on April 15th, you can now make that payment on July 15th without penalty. So that's a huge benefit to everyone as we try to work our way through this.
And then the IRS is also managing these payments that are going out to a lot of individuals, getting checks. Some are getting $1,200, some are getting $2,400, or a little bit more. And those have been going out, and that's also a big help. And that I assume that program is managed by the IRS.
It is. Yeah, the IRS is sending those checks out. As I understand it, checks are starting to go out, the actual physical checks, for people who did not have direct deposit information on file. The physical checks are starting to go out today.
Excellent. That's what I saw too, and I'm really glad that you mentioned that, because we've not mentioned that on the show, and that's going to be good news for people that were frustrated because they didn't get a check electronically, and now they're going to be getting one in the mail, and so I I assume if you haven't ventured out of your house to check your mail, you might want to go do that today and tomorrow, right? Go out and clean out the mailbox.
Exactly.
Sometimes you get a lot of ads
right
out in the mailbox. It gets kind of frustrating cleaning all that out of there.
Oh, absolutely. And I would also suggest to anyone with, as long as you have the internet connection, they can go to the IRS website, irs.gov, and on the main page is a link to the coronavirus economic benefit checks that are going out. Follow that link, and they can find out exactly the status of their particular payment.
For business owners, Stuart Sherman, tax attorney, it gets a little complicated. But again, more things that business owners can take advantage of. You got to be careful, but you can take advantage of. And one of the big ones, I think, is not having to pay your 941s. And those are withholding taxes that it can accrue to a lot of money. And if I got this right, the IRS says you don't have to pay those right away. But be careful, right?
Absolutely. You want to make sure that you do pay them by the due date that has been extended. And if I recall correctly, that due date is the end of the year now. If you don't pay them by that time period, there is personal liability to the business holder for the amount of the taxes that are actually withheld from the employees' paychecks. And that's where I see small businesses getting into trouble. They use that money to keep themselves afloat, and then they don't have the funds to pay the taxes when they're due.
Yeah, and if there is one tax, and I can speak, unfortunately, some level of experience with this, if there is one tax that you definitely want to pay and pay on time, business owners, it's your 941s, because the IRS doesn't have a lot of patience with those, because they see that as money that you should have been, you've taken out of paychecks of your employees.
Exactly. It's called a trust fund tax, and there is personal liability, and they will chase you for that. Plus, it's non-dischargeable in bankruptcy. So you're going to end up paying that money.
Stuart Sherman, here's where it gets really confusing. There are a lot of other, so that's all the basic things that I've been able to figure out as a business owner. But then it gets a lot more complicated. There are a lot of other things in the CARES Act that I just can't even make any sense out of, that impact, taxes from my last couple of years of the business and adjustments and things we can move around that are very helpful to businesses. Is that making any sense? You know what I'm talking about?
I do. I do. For a lot of business owners, we are needing to go back through their previous year's returns to see if we can amend them to take advantage of losses. The what do we call the Trump Tax Act changed the way losses were dealt with. Instead of being able to carry them back, you could only carry them forward. CARES allowed some of these losses to be carried back again. So for some business owners, it did make sense, and it still makes sense for them to look to see if they can take advantage of that to recover taxes that they paid over the last couple of years.
Bottom line, if you figure out how to do all that, I know we're getting deep in the weeds here, but if you figure out how to do all that, it may put some money in your pocket early next year, whenever you get your tax return, right? It's a program that's there to help you get some cash that you might not have been able to get in the form of a bigger return from the IRS.
Exactly. Well, actually, these things can be done now. Amended returns can be filed immediately to recover that money now. So we can get money into business owners' pockets immediately rather than waiting. However, the IRS is not processing paper returns right now. So that does create a little bit of a snafu from the standpoint of getting it done quickly.
All right, and that would be a paperwork action. It wouldn't be something you could do electronically?
Exactly.
All right. So, this is something I haven't heard reported anywhere in the media. So I'm really glad for our business owners that are listening. Go talk to your tax expert. If it's Stuart, you can wait 5 minutes because we're talking to him right now. But call him later on today and then go talk to him and ask him about it and see, because, any way you can get a little bit of extra money, a little bit of extra cash might save your business. On the PPP loan program, Stuart Sherman, we're hearing that the community banks in particular have been doing a really nice job lately moving some of these loans through. I don't know what you're hearing from your clients.
I'm hearing very little. I have a number of clients who have applied for PPP loans. I only have one who's actually gotten it through. Everyone else is still waiting. But now that the additional funds have been added to the program, we're hoping that more of my clients will be hearing about approvals of those loans.
What are you talking to individuals about? We talked about businesses. What are you talking to individuals about? Things that people should be working on. They're stuck at home right now. Maybe they got a little time. As you're looping back and looking at things financially, what rises to the top of the stack of things that people should be paying attention to?
I'm glad you asked that. One of the issues that I'm seeing with individuals right now, and I'm getting a lot of phone calls, are people who are behind on their filings. So maybe they haven't filed their returns in 2, 3, 5, 7 years. And I'm telling them this is a perfect opportunity to get your affairs in order, to go through your financial records, gather your information, get the returns prepared, and get them ready to go in or get them filed. We can then deal with the IRS arranging your payment situation, whether it's paying off what's on the return or working out some type of payment agreement, or in the alternative, an offer in compromise. It just depends on the individual. But the biggest thing that I have to tell people as they're going through this, I'll hear repeatedly, oh, I didn't file my return for, say, 7 years, but I had refunds coming, so I'm going to get all this money. Well, no, you're not. Because if you don't file your return and you don't claim that refund for 3 years, you've lost that refund. You can't go back and get it. But the IRS can still collect it from you if you owe them. So I strongly encourage people to use this time to get their finances in order.
All right, well, really, it's good advice at any time, but particularly good advice right now. Let's shift over, just talk about Birmingham. I drive through Birmingham multiple times a day, and right now, and there's a big project going on Maple Road, I know. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
Absolutely. We are involved in replacing the infrastructure along Maple Road: water, sewer, streets, sidewalks, parking, everything, trees. It is in conjunction with MDOT because we received a federal grant for part of the project. Um, we were waiting for MDOT to actually award the contract, which they have done. And as of Monday, we've started construction.
How is downtown Birmingham doing? I mean, coronavirus aside, we'll come back and talk about that. I mean, just in general, it seems like Birmingham is really doing great. People want to get downtown, they want to walk around, they want to shop. We're seeing, a lot of great new establishments, and not the least of which is the construction of a brand new major hotel right now in downtown Birmingham.
Absolutely. And thank you for coming and enjoying our streets and our restaurants and our stores. Birmingham is doing well. This coronavirus situation has closed the city down, the downtown down. We have a lot of exciting things that will hopefully recur once we are able to reopen. We are taking steps to plan for that reopening, to encourage people to come back into the downtown, to frequent the stores and hopefully the restaurant soon. And we look forward to the new hotel and other projects that will be opening up in the very near future.
Yeah, I mean, when I think of downtown Birmingham, certainly we think of the wonderful retail that's there. But downtown Birmingham is a very interesting collection of restaurants and a wide variety of restaurants and places to go after work for a cocktail. So it's a real fun place, a lot of different things to do, some great movie theaters, and everyone knows I don't need to sit here and sing the praises of downtown Birmingham to people in Oakland County, but
Please
it's unfortunate we're in the situation right now, but it will be back. How about the city itself? Or West Bloomfield's going to talk today about getting the city offices back open. I assume there are plans right now to get things back in business as soon as we can do that, as soon as humanly possible.
We are absolutely working on that as soon as we're given the go-ahead and it's safe for the health and safety of not only our residents and our employees, our visitors. We want everyone to have an enjoyable, safe, and healthy experience when they're downtown and in the city. We take great pride in that, and we look forward to welcoming everyone back.
Well, Stuart, thank you very much for joining us. Stuart Sherman, owner, founder of Tax Resolve in Birmingham. Appreciate your tax advice. He's a tax attorney and also the former mayor of Birmingham and currently a city commissioner. Good to have you with us. Anything else you want to share with the people before we say so long?
I thank you for letting me taking some time here, and just wish everyone well and stay healthy.
Thank you, sir. Same to you, and say hello to everyone in Birmingham today. He is the founder of Tax Resolve in Birmingham and a Birmingham City Commissioner, former Mayor Stuart Sherman, joining us here on the MegaCast.